The night before our scheduled marriage license appointment, pictures of Ethan and Mia locked in a passionate kiss were everywhere on Instagram and Facebook feeds. When I arrived, they were wrapped in each other's arms. Confetti scattered across the floor. Ethan glanced up at me and sauntered over, completely unapologetic. The mood was right. Everyone was egging us on. It was just a joke. Don't make a big deal out of it. I slipped the engagement ring off my finger, tossed it casually aside, copied his lazy tone. I don't care. Have fun. I turned to leave, but a hand clamped down hard on my arm. Clara. What the hell is this supposed to mean? I spun around to find Ethan's face twisted with rage. Stupid rain. If it hadn't been pouring, I wouldn't have hesitated at the door for those few extra seconds and he wouldn't have caught me. Say something. My silence only fueled his anger. Throwing the ring. Are you breaking up with me? I looked up at him. The harsh overhead light cast sharp shadows across his face. Ethan was handsome, bright and sunny. That was why I'd fallen for him in the first place. But now, he was like a peeled cabbage, bland, tasteless, utterly unappealing. Yes, we're breaking up. Ethan froze, then let out a cold, bitter laugh. Do you even hear yourself? We're getting married tomorrow, and you're saying this now. Are you trying to humiliate me? You humiliated yourself first. A few weeks earlier, we'd had a fight. He'd gotten wasted. I'd been standing outside the private room when I heard someone tease him. Hey, Ethan, you're not actually gonna marry her, are you? I thought you said it was just a fling. Why are you taking it so seriously? He'd scoffed. Who's taking it seriously? She's the one who's head over heels for me. If she wasn't clinging to me like a leech, I would have dumped her ages ago. An almost 30 washed-up old maid. Who else would have her besides me? Until that moment, I'd always thought breaking up was a matter of willingness, not courage. A heavy lump formed in my throat. One that no amount of wind could blow away. That was when the crack in our relationship had started. I suppose, his arrogance had always struck me as charming, but now it just felt absurd. What are you talking about? How did I humiliate you? Ethan leaned back against the wall, his tone impatient. I already told you they were egging us on. She's just a kid. I couldn't leave her hanging like that. And it was just a kiss. Do you really have to blow this out of proportion? I blinked in confusion. Am I blowing this out of proportion? He stiffened for a second. Fine, go back, pick up the ring, and let's forget this ever happened. He grabbed my wrist and started dragging me back inside. I was wearing heels, and my ankle twisted painfully, but he didn't slow down. If anything, he walked faster, his grip digging into my skin. Slap. My hand connected with his cheek with a sharp, resounding crack. I said we're breaking up. Do you not understand English? My voice echoed through the room, drawing stares from everyone around us. Ethan's eyes darkened. After a long, tense silence, he let go of my wrist. Fine, Clara, throw your little tantrum. Don't expect me to come crawling back to beg for forgiveness. My chest felt tight, but somehow, I also felt a strange sense of relief. Of course Ethan wouldn't beg me to stay. In his eyes, I was nothing but a clingy leech he couldn't get rid of. The rain came down harder. It streaked the car windows, blurring the world outside. The windshield wipers couldn't keep up. The car's GPS spoke up in its calm, mechanical voice. You have deviated from your route. Rerouting. Please make a U-turn when safe. My wedding day became just another workday. My relationship was over, but my job wasn't. I was at the printer when I ran into Mia. She froze when she saw me, panicking like a rabbit caught in headlights. She must have pressed the wrong button, because paper started flying everywhere. Mia dropped to her knees, scrambling to pick up the sheets while crying and apologizing. I'm so sorry, Director Clara. She was picking them up slower than they were coming out. I ignored her apologies, walked over, and restarted the machine. Director Clara, could you lift your foot, please? Mia looked up at me with those big, teary eyes, out of all the papers scattered across the floor. She just had to go for the one under my shoe. I lifted my foot. A roar echoed through the hallway. Clara, that's enough. Ethan stormed over, immediately pulling Mia to her feet and checking her over for injuries. When he was satisfied she wasn't hurt, he turned to me with a cold, furious glare. Can you stop being so petty for 5 minutes? We're at work, for God's sake. Mia's just an intern. Why are you picking on her? Trying to feel powerful because you're the boss. The way he held her protectively burned like whiskey going down dry. Sharp. Searing. Once upon a time, he'd stood up for me just like that. Defended me no matter what. I'd worked for Ethan's father for years. When Ethan joined the company, I was already the director of the investment department. He was warm, outgoing, young and bright. He'd look you right in the eye when he spoke. And when he smiled, his eyes crinkled at the corners, revealing the most perfect smile. At work, he'd supported every decision I made without question. He'd tried to see things from my perspective, broken down the walls I'd built around myself. You don't have to care who I am. All you need to know is that I'll always have your back. Go out there and shine. Need I remind you, Clara, that you started out as an intern too? His sneer pulled me out of my memories. He was trying to cut me down to size. Too bad it didn't work. Thanks for the reminder. It just goes to show how good I was. Even back then, Ethan was speechless. My track record at the company spoke for itself. Beside him, Mia's eyes filled with tears again. Director Clara. You think I'm stupid, don't you? She clung to Ethan's sleeve, looking utterly devastated. I really am trying my best to learn, but no one wants to teach me properly, so I just watch when other people are working. Mia burst into tears. Ethan's face softened with concern, and his anger toward me flared even hotter. Every other intern can use a printer. Only Mia can't. Did you tell everyone not to teach her? Are you deliberately sabotaging her? I stared at him, dumbfounded. We'd been together for 3 years, but in that moment, I realized I'd never really known him at all. I didn't bother arguing. I lifted the printer cover, loaded a sheet of paper, closed it, and pressed print. When I turned around with my documents, Ethan's face was stiff with embarrassment. I straightened the papers in my hand and looked at Mia. All I saw in her eyes was pure, unadulterated stupidity. No one is obligated to teach you. If you need someone to spoon-feed you everything, I suggest you go back to kindergarten. With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, Mia let out a loud wail and threw herself into Ethan's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. He was always so good at comforting people. The next morning, we had a company meeting. Ethan, in his role as general manager, announced that he was promoting Mia to vice president of the branch office. A collective gasp went through the room. Vice president, that's the same rank as Director Clara. But Clara worked at headquarters for 2 years just to make director. Mia's only been here a few weeks. One of the more senior employees spoke up cautiously. Ethan, Mia hasn't even finished her internship yet. She's not even a full-time employee. Promoting her to vice president, it doesn't look good. Ethan's face darkened. He tapped his pen against the table sharply, and the room fell silent. Do I need your permission to appoint a vice president? He glanced pointedly at me. Director Clara, do you have a problem with this appointment? I shrugged casually. None whatsoever. I was being transferred back to headquarters soon anyway. Vice president, director, none of it mattered to me anymore. Ethan's grip on his pen tightened until his knuckles turned white. His expression was unreadable. The room fell silent again. Mia was the one who broke the awkwardness. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Ethan. I'll work hard. I promise I won't let you down. She turned to the rest of us with a bright smile. And everyone, please don't treat me any differently just because I'm vice president now. I'm still the same Mia. I'm not some stuffy old boss. Finally, she looked at me. There was a smug little smile playing on her lips. I look forward to working with you, Director Clara. Please don't hesitate to correct me if I make a mistake. And don't go easy on me just because of my relationship with Ethan. She winked at Ethan playfully. Her attempt at being humble only made her look more like a petty tyrant who'd just gotten lucky. But with Ethan back, ING her up. No one dared say a word. Those who couldn't stand it just stared down at their desks in silence. Before the meeting ended, Ethan called my name. Yeah, he hesitated for a moment, then spoke quietly. I want you to swap offices with Mia. Fine. Ethan blinked in surprise, his face darkening further. My old office was directly across from his. Every time I looked up from my files, I'd see his face. I'd had enough of that. Him asking me to move saved me the trouble of asking myself. Mia threw her arms around Ethan excitedly. Thank you, Ethan. Now I can see you even when we're at work. I ignored their sickening display as my phone rang. It was my mom. Ethan called my name again, but I didn't hear him as I walked out the door. My mom said I dodged a bullet. Dating a younger guy was never a good idea, she said. She ranted about Ethan for a good 10 minutes, then insisted on setting me up on a blind date. I was rolling my eyes when I heard that Mia had run crying to Ethan again. She said people were talking about her behind her back, saying she'd only gotten the job because she slept her way to the top, that she had no talent, no skills, and no one respected her. Who said that? I pushed open the door to Ethan's office just as he spoke. It was Hannah, Director Clara's assistant. Mia was draped all over Ethan, looking miserable. She looked up when I walked in, and our eyes met. I turned to leave, but Ethan's words stopped me in my tracks. He was firing Hannah. I don't tolerate gossip in this company. Clara, did you put her up to this? He stared at me coldly, his hand still resting on Mia's waist. First of all, I had no idea what was going on. Second of all, I was starting to get a pretty good idea. Gossip. I looked at Mia, who quickly lowered her head, looking even more helpless and innocent. Are you sure it's not just our new vice president being overly sensitive and misinterpreting things? Before Mia could speak, Ethan answered for her. Mia would never lie about something like this. I let out a cold laugh. So what? You think I'm the one lying? Ethan's face turned icy. Clara, do you always have to be so sarcastic? Why would anyone else talk about Mia? It had to be your assistant. And don't tell me you've never said anything about her behind her back. Oh, so that's what he thought of me. Petty, jealous, small-minded. He didn't even bother asking for my side of the story. He'd already made up his mind. I dropped the file I was holding onto his desk and shrugged. If that's what you want to believe, go ahead. Ethan's eyes darkened. He glanced at Mia, who was trembling beside him, and made his decision. I know Hannah's worked for you for years, but she crossed a line when she attacked Mia. She's fired. He said it so casually, so easily, that for the first time, I felt pure, white-hot rage. No investigation, no asking for witnesses, no hearing Hannah's side, just Mia's word against hers, and Hannah was gone. A hardworking, loyal employee who'd been with the company for years. Hannah is the lead on the acquisition project. We're in the final stages of negotiations. If she leaves, who's going to take over her work? I looked at Ethan. You. Then I turned to Mia. Or you. Mia just pouted and looked away. Ethan's pride was wounded. He slammed his fist on the desk. Clara, is that any way to talk to your superior? How should I talk to you? I shot back. Have you even thought about the company? About the rest of the team? I tapped the project file hard, trying to make him understand the consequences of his actions. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Then Mia started crying again. It's okay, Ethan, let it go. She sniffled, her voice thick with tears. I got promoted so fast. It's only natural that Director Clara resents me. At that, Ethan's gaze turned to ice. He picked up the phone and called HR. Give Hannah the company's standard severance package. He didn't even look at me. And put Mia in charge of Hannah's part of the project. She'll see it through to the end. I fell silent. Ethan's little power play had left me speechless. We'd spent almost a year on that project researching, negotiating, jumping through endless hoops. I'd been thrown out of offices more times than I could count, been told we'd never get the deal, and finally, we'd gotten the brand to agree to the acquisition. We were literally one step away from closing the deal. This project was the only thing keeping the branch office afloat. If it failed, half the staff would lose their jobs. But looking at Ethan's stubborn, childish face, the warning died on my lips. Whatever, let him ruin it. In the break room later, my mom sent me a dozen photos of the same man. He lives in the same city as you. I set up a time for you to meet. Don't forget. I was typing a reply when someone grabbed my coffee cup. Director Clara, can we talk? Mia was leaning against the counter, wearing an expensive tailored suit. There was a challenging glint in her eyes. There it was, the real Mia. Now that Ethan wasn't around, no more innocent little girl act. I don't have time. I grabbed my cup and turned to leave. But she stepped in front of me. I know you and Ethan broke up, so I'd appreciate it if you'd keep your distance from him from now on. Her voice was cold and businesslike, a far cry from the whimpering mess she was in front of Ethan. Who says we can't get back together? I turned around. Her face went pale. She was so shocked she almost dropped her cup. I'd only been teasing her, but apparently, I'd hit a nerve. People get divorced and remarry all the time. What gives you the right to tell me what to do? Mia gritted her teeth. Ethan doesn't love you. You're just clinging to him. Have some self-respect. Don't cheapen yourself like this. Cheapen myself. I reached out and brushed a finger lightly over the expensive fabric of her suit jacket. Does self-respect pay for suits like this? I'd seen Mia's resume. She was just an ordinary college graduate from a middle-class family. No rich parents. No trust fund. And yet, in the space of a month, she'd gone from carrying a canvas backpack to a Chanel bag. From wearing plain white t-shirts to designer suits. She stared at me, speechless. I leaned against the counter and took a sip of coffee. Ethan's really wonderful. You know, I've actually missed him a lot since we broke up. He came to find me the other day to explain what happened. He said he didn't mean anything by it. He just didn't want to embarrass a poor young girl in front of everyone. Honestly, I've already forgiven him. Crash. Mia's cup slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. She was shaking all over. Clara, you're shameless. You're just a cradle robber. I smiled and patted her shoulder. At least I'm a cradle robber with skills. Don't be too jealous. I'd only been messing with her to blow off some steam from my mom's phone call. But when I walked out of the break room, Ethan was standing right outside the door. His expression was complicated, but there was a flicker of hope in his eyes. Clara, can we talk? I walked straight past him, faster and faster. There was nothing left to say. By the end of the day, dark clouds had rolled in. The wind howled. And soon it was pouring rain again. My car was banned from the roads that day under the city's license plate driving ban. I couldn't get a taxi. The subway was a few hundred meters away, and I didn't have an umbrella. People rushed past. Cars splashed through puddles. But the rain showed no sign of letting up. I'll drive you home. Ethan held an umbrella over my head. I stepped back, putting distance between us. No, thanks, Clara, please. Stop being so stubborn, he sighed, sounding exasperated. You're not going to get a taxi in this rain. Come on, I'll take you home. Honestly, I was sick of this act. This fake, possessive charm he thought was so irresistible. I stood there in silence. Ethan stood there too, holding the umbrella over both of us, refusing to move. Fine, if you won't get in the car, I'll just stand here with you all night. The rain kept pouring. From a distance, I saw someone running toward us, completely soaked. Director Clara. Mia was breathless, her hair plastered to her face. I got the letter of intent you asked for. She was clutching the file to her chest protectively. She glanced up at Ethan, her voice small and timid. Ethan. Ethan frowned and immediately pulled her under the umbrella. Why didn't you take a taxi? Look at you. You're drenched. I couldn't get one. I was pushed to the edge of the umbrella. My shoulder was soaked through. Clara, you made her go get that file in this rain. Couldn't it have waited until tomorrow? Ethan's voice was sharp with anger. Mia had volunteered to get the file, and I'd asked her to do it a week ago. Before I could say anything, Mia cut in. Don't be mad at her. Ethan, I'm grateful she's giving me a chance to prove myself. Making you run around in a thunderstorm is not a chance to prove yourself. Mia put her hand over his mouth and snuggled closer to him. I'm fine. Really, please don't be angry. It scares me. Ethan stared at me coldly. His accusations hit me like raindrops. Cold and stinging. He took off his suit jacket and wrapped it around Mia's shoulders. Then he tossed the umbrella at me. I'll take Mia home. You can walk. The metal handle hit the top of my foot hard. Someone stepped on it as they ran past, leaving muddy footprints all over the fabric. It was dirty. Not that I wanted it anyway. Ethan's assistant called me, frantic. She'd been trying to reach him for hours. Director Clara, the client wants to sign the contract tonight. He's flying out tomorrow morning. And if we don't get it signed tonight, he's selling the factory to someone else. $30 million. If we lost this deal, no one would be able to fix the mess. I grabbed the contract and drove to Ethan's apartment. Mia opened the door. What do you want? She was wearing Ethan's shirt, which fell to mid-thigh. The top buttons were undone, and I could see dark hickeys on her neck. I held up the contract. Ethan's in the shower. Give it to me. I'll make sure he signs it. The open collar. The hickeys. The shirt. I wasn't an idiot. I knew exactly what had been going on. I didn't wait for Ethan to come out. I handed the contract to Mia. Tell him he needs to sign this tonight. Bring it to the office first thing tomorrow morning. But the next day, Ethan's phone was turned off. All morning, everyone was panicking. We were trying to stall the client while calling Ethan over and over. Then, over the chaos, someone spoke up quietly. Ethan took Mia to a music festival in the next city. Mia had posted it on Instagram, a photo of their matching festival wristbands. The office fell completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. We all looked like fools. At that moment, I got a message from the client. The factory has been sold, brand and patents included. Sorry, stop trying to reach Ethan. The factory's gone. Everyone sat down in silence. We'd worked so hard on this project for months, and just like that, it was gone. I'd thought Ethan had a limit to his recklessness. Promoting Mia to vice president, firing Hannah, those were bad. But they wouldn't sink the company. But this, turning off his phone, disappearing to a music festival, throwing away everyone's hard work like it was nothing. $30 million gone. Ethan would still be a rich kid, but half the staff here would lose their jobs because of his stupidity. His complete lack of responsibility made me sick to my stomach. I decided I was done. I was quit. Ting. At the cafe later, I sat across from the man my mom had set me up with. He was a lawyer. I'm sorry about this. My mom set this up without asking me. I'm not really looking to date right now. I appreciate you coming, though. He was handsome, with dark hair and kind eyes. He smiled, and his whole face lit up. No problem. I've got plenty of time. My phone rang for the 10th time. Boyfriend. Ex-boss. Ethan's messages were blowing up my phone. Who said you could quit? Where are you? Clara. Answer me. I turned my phone off. 30 minutes later, Ethan burst into the cafe. Why aren't you answering your phone? Why aren't you replying to my messages? Who is this guy? The company's falling apart, and you're here having coffee with some random stranger. He was acting like a complete lunatic. Thankfully, the lawyer didn't take offense, but Ethan's behavior was utterly embarrassing. It's none of your business. I said goodbye to the lawyer and walked out. Ethan followed me. He grabbed the door of my car before I could get in. Clara. The company needs you. Something terrible has happened. His desperation made me laugh bitterly. Where had this urgency been yesterday? There's been an accident at the construction site. A worker fell from the scaffolding and died. Back at the office, Mia was crying hysterically. I didn't know the contract was that important. You told me to give it to him, but you didn't say how urgent it was. I thought it could wait. I just wanted to take him to the festival to help him relax. He's been so stressed lately. She paused, glancing nervously at Ethan's face. When she saw how angry he was, she whispered, I'm so sorry. Ethan rubbed his temples, looking exhausted. Mia, leave us alone for a minute. I need to talk to Clara. Mia looked at me, then slowly stood up and left, sniffling dramatically. When she was gone, Ethan turned to me. This is going to blow up. The family's threatening to sue. We can't let this destroy the company's reputation. My heart sank. What are you saying? He looked at me, and I could see he'd already made up his mind. The company will pay the compensation, but we need someone to take the fall publicly, to apologize to the family and the press. My hands started shaking. You want me to be the scapegoat? I don't want to do this, Clara. He looked pained, but he'd already found the easiest way out. Sacrifice me to save the company. I promise you won't get hurt. I'll hire the best lawyers. I'll pay for everything. Just say it was your mistake. It'll calm everyone down, and we can fix this quietly behind the scenes. He grabbed my hands, his eyes red. I won't let you go to jail. I promise. I felt my blood turn to ice. My whole arm went numb. No one was thinking clearly right now, but I forced myself to stay calm. The worker fell because the scaffolding was loose. Why don't you investigate that? His next words broke me completely. There's no time. He was panicking, clinging to me like I was his only lifeline. The story's blowing up online. If you take the blame now, we can contain it. The company already lost $30 million. We can't survive another scandal. Please. Clara, I'm begging you. I couldn't feel anything anymore, not even the pain of his fingers digging into my wrists. It felt like someone was squeezing my heart, making it impossible to breathe. I pulled my hands out of his grasp. I won't do it. The meeting ended without a resolution. I left the office and drove straight to the construction site. Then I called my lawyer. I didn't know if Ethan would change his mind, but the look in his eyes told me I couldn't afford to wait around and find out. The next time we saw each other was in the conference room. He was there with the company's lawyers. I was there with mine. The room was deathly quiet. You could hear everyone breathing. Outside, it was a different story. The internet was on fire. Everyone was demanding that I apologize publicly, that I be held responsible for the man's death. The worker's family had released a statement saying they wouldn't accept money. They wanted justice. Ethan looked tired. Clara, do we really have to do this? You were the project manager. At the end of the day, you're responsible for what happens on your site. Isn't that right? I told you 100 times. I'll protect you. Why won't you trust me? You already hurt me. I threw the photos down on the table. Pictures of my car, covered in white paint and vulgar slurs. 3 of my tires had been stolen, and the 4th was slashed. Ethan glanced at them, then shrugged. This will all blow over eventually. It just takes time. I couldn't believe this was the man I'd loved. The warm, sunny boy I'd fallen for was gone, replaced by someone cold and selfish. Or maybe I'd never really known him at all. On the day of the hearing, everyone was rushing around, preparing for the trial. Ethan was there too. He pulled a ring out of his pocket. Clara, marry me. Mia was standing a few feet away, staring at us, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. The family won't settle, but I'll pull some strings. Get you out on bail as soon as possible. It'll only be for a little while, and when you get out, we'll get married. Okay. I took the ring from him and looked at it closely. I realized I'd never actually wanted it. And now, it was completely worthless. I handed it back to him. I'm here today because of you. Don't you forget that. Ethan looked away. His hypocrisy was laid bare for all to see. An hour later, I walked out of the courtroom. The judge had dismissed all charges against me. The case was thrown out. Ethan's perfect plan had forgotten one thing. Facts matter. He ran after me, but my lawyer stepped between us. Mr. Ethan, if you have anything to say, you can say it to me. Ethan called my name. Clara, I'm sorry. I don't accept your apology. Ethan froze, his face pale. Mia replaced the original construction crew with her uncle's team. They didn't inspect the scaffolding before starting work. They used old, rusted pipes to build it. Of course someone was going to get hurt. I looked him dead in the eye. And you knew that, didn't you? Ethan's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know at first. I'm devastated by what happened. I wish it had been me instead of him. Does it matter? He took a step toward me. I stepped back. We kept our distance. You knew it was her uncle's crew, but you still decided to throw me under the bus. What was that proposal? A consolation prize? The man standing in front of me was a stranger. A cold, calculating businessman who'd never cared about anything but profit. I always thought you were just young and naive, but I forgot who your father was. You were born into this world. You've always known how to put the company first. You might be younger than me, but you're far more ruthless. I was just a pawn you could throw away when it suited you. We were never on the same side. Mia's uncle was arrested. Mia was investigated by the company's legal team and charged with negligence. Ethan was crucified in the press, promoting an unqualified INTE RN to vice president, letting her replace the construction crew with her family's company, leading to a man's death he couldn't escape the blame. Between the public backlash and the board of directors' fury, the branch office was shut down permanently. His father had a heart attack and was hospitalized. I went to the office to pack up my things. Ethan was there. He looked nothing like the boy I'd known. Gone was the confidence, the charm. He looked tired, broken. He put his hand on my box. Clara, you can still go back to headquarters. You don't have to quit. I already have another job. Then he hesitated, his voice breaking. Can we try again? Up close, I could see his red, bloodshot eyes. He hadn't shaved in days. No, the box trembled in my hands. His hand was shaking too. I gently moved his hand away. My voice was calm, completely emotionless. There was never a chance for us. Not after that night. Ethan grabbed my arm. I don't believe you. You loved me once. I looked into his eyes. I realized it wasn't his eyes that were beautiful. It was the reflection of me in them. The confident, strong woman I'd been back then, and the woman I still am now. Love didn't matter anymore. Ethan. There's something I've always wanted to say to you. He let go of my arm, his eyes wide with hope. You were never better than me. We were always equals. At 30 or 40. I'll always have both the courage and the ability to hit reset and start over. I heard later that Mia had gone to headquarters, screaming and crying, demanding that Ethan take responsibility for her. In a fit of rage, Ethan's father had sent him abroad to get him out of the way. When Mia found out, she stopped screaming. Now she begs Ethan's father to send her abroad too. Her career was over before it even began. After the trial, I took my lawyer out for dinner to thank him. He was funny. Every time I tried to apologize for wasting his time, he'd just smile and say, "It's okay, I've got plenty of time. Aren't lawyers supposed to charge by the minute? You're being very unprofessional." He just smiled. Then he asked, "After everything that happened, do you still believe in love?" I took a bite of my steak and smiled. Why wouldn't I? Sometimes you just have to eliminate the wrong answers first. He smiled again, and this time, it reached his eyes. Hey there, could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10. Please, I am begging you. It really means a lot to me. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit follow.